Hello and welcome. I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com. And today we're answering the question, what is Amare? I bring up Amare several times in my videos because I'm always giving away free product when you send in a question and I answer it, or you give me a review on my books on Amazon or our website. And so because of that, I get the question all the time, well, what is Amare and why do you promote it? Well, it is a product that I use on a daily basis. I love it. When I discovered it, I knew that science matched what I was already learning and discovering. So I just went all in and I was like, I'm going to try these products. But still, we come back to, well, what is Amare and why that over other products that are out there on the market? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I actually have brought on one of the scientists from Amare who helped formulate a lot of the products. And because he's on, I'm not going to be easy with him on these questions because I know you have questions that are serious. So I'm not going to give him an easy ride because I want to get to, does it really matter? What is Amare? Why do these products make a difference? Is it just science junk? We're going to hit it because I know you want the truth and not just for me to just sell you something. And that's not why I'm here. I want you to get to the truth. And I love microbiome science. I'm just all over microbiome. And I really want you to also have the mental fitness to do well, to succeed in what you're working at, to succeed in your exercise, in your job, in your family life. I want you to succeed. And the microbiome is key to most of that. We also touch on the spiritual aspect, but we do that in so many other videos. Today, we're just going physical. So today, I want you to welcome with me Dr. Shawn Talbot. And I met Dr. Shawn Talbot about I guess, almost 4 years ago when I was introduced to Amare. I like to follow him on his Ironman competitions, and I love to bike, so I follow him on all of his excursions when he posted on video or on social media. And so I am excited to welcome you. So welcome, Dr. Talbot, to this interview.
Thanks, Annette. It's great to be here.
Okay, great. So let's just dive right in. So people are asking, what is Amare? What can you just tell us? How do you answer that? And you already know I have a series of questions. So
Yeah, sure. So, the easiest way for me to describe Amare to people is that we are the mental wellness company. So everything that we do comes back to mental wellness in one way or another. But that can be different for different people. For some people, mental wellness might be that we're helping them lower their stress. For other people, it might be that we're helping them raise their resilience so they can handle more stress. For some people, it might be bringing back their energy levels or improving their mood or improving their mental focus or lifting their brain fog or helping their sleep quality. There's so many ways that we can look at different mood states and help people improve their mental wellness in all those different ways naturally.
Okay, that was a lot of little topics in there. So let's just talk about this. I know on the website you talk consistently and the products are labeled gut-brain axis.
Yep.
I mean, it's just everywhere. It's actually behind your head on the
right, yep.
behind you. And I get it. So you're calling it the GBX, the gut-brain axis. So we're talking about optimizing this. So my question is it possible to know what is the ideal microbiome to then reach everything you just mentioned, all of that mental fitness, reducing stress, all of that? How do we know what is an ideal microbiome?
Yeah, so this is probably the other part of what Amare is all about. That the way that we improve mental wellness is through the gut-brain axis, and the reason for that is that the new science around the microbiome, this collection of bacteria in your gut, is that those bacteria and your gut make most of our neurotransmitters. So when we say to somebody, we want you to feel better, we want to improve your mental well-being or your mental fitness, it's not just a brain thing. It really is a gut-brain thing because 90% of that serotonin in our body is made in our gut, and that's going to change how our mood is. 70% of our dopamine is made in our gut, and that's going to change our motivation. Most of our GABA, the body's relaxing neurotransmitter, is made in the gut, and that's going to change our ability to relax in the face of stress. So if we want to get people to feel their best and perform their best mentally, we have to think of the gut, what we call the second brain, and we have to think of the bacteria in the gut that are the source of a lot of these neurotransmitters in the first place. So that's why we talk a lot about the gut and a lot about the gut-brain axis at Amare, the mental wellness company.
But what about food? Can't food do the same thing?
Food can do it to a point, right? So we want people eating less of the standard American diet and more of a whole foods diet. You know, sometimes we'll talk about the Mediterranean diet or the Scandinavian diet or the Okinawan diet, which are all similar in that they're low in processed food, they're low in sugar, they're high in fiber, they're high in fruits and vegetables. So the more that people can eat in that pattern, that's absolutely going to take them in that direction towards better mental well-being. But there are also things that we can do in a very targeted way to say, here are some specific strains of probiotic bacteria that we know help with stress and anxiety and depression. Or here are some very specific targeted prebiotic fibers that can help with resilience. Or here are some very specific plant extracts, what we call phytonutrients, that can help with mental clarity or stress resilience, or, you know, we can go down the whole line. But there's ways that we can do it with foods, and there's ways we can really target and personalize it with targeted supplements.
Yeah, I really like that, because number one is food. If you're not going to change your food, what you're
Right.
going to address with the targeted supplements, it's just going to take so much more work.
Right. You can't just take a pill and think that's going to make up for your complete lack of any nutrition in your baseline diet.
Yeah, but that is so much what we're taught. Okay, so how do we know what the ideal microbiome is? Like, how do we know when we've reached that pinnacle of
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. We don't know what the ideal microbiome is, right? That's still to be determined. What we're learning about the microbiome, we're in early days of understanding the microbiome. It's only been about a decade where we could even measure the microbiome. And now we can measure it and we can modulate it, and we can see if we make a change in this direction, people feel better. If we make a change in that direction, people feel worse. So there's certain things that we know a lot about. We know what a good microbiome pattern looks like. So we can sort of try to push everybody towards a better pattern, more good bacteria, less bad bacteria. But everyone's going to have their own unique microbiome. When I do my microbiome seminars, I will explain to people that we all have a microbiome that's unique to us, almost like a fingerprint. And so my microbiome is going to be very different than your microbiome, but we still want to go towards the same pattern of having more of the right bacteria and less of the bad bacteria, and better gut integrity and better mucus linings. And there's certain things that we know enough about now where we can use nutrition to modulate us towards those good things. But we're learning new things every single day, and that's going to make our interventions better and better and better as we move through time.
I still agree with that. Now, you touched on something that I don't think everyone is aware of, and that's these very targeted, specific pre and probiotics. There was a day, back in 2010 when I was teaching, in 2007, it's like, okay, you need to buy a probiotic. It needs to be triple encapsulated so that it can open up at the right part. Now it's like that science is like so old.
Right.
Now it's like, well, I want this result. So then you're wanting this strain. So tell us more about that, and how has Amare, used that scientific research into their products?
Right. Yeah. So that's a concept called strain specificity. So what we know now that we didn't know as little as 10 years ago is that there's specific strains of probiotic bacteria that will have different biological metabolic effects in the body. So one specific strain we might be able to deliver to somebody to say, we know that this strain will increase your serotonin levels, so your mood will be better. Here's another different strain that will also make you feel better, but it will make you feel better because it's lowering your cortisol, your stress hormone. And so the better is that you're less stressed. There's another strain that we can give people to lower their inflammation. There's another strain that can help with constipation. Another strain can help with immune system. So those are all good things, but they're delivered by completely different strains. And what's exciting about that, especially as a scientist and a formulator, is that we can target those benefits by using specific strains, and we can develop a product that does one thing or something completely different. And it gives us the ability to really fine tune and bring this idea of precision nutrition using probiotics. We can do the same thing for prebiotic fibers. We can do the same thing for phytonutrients that we extract from plants, but we're getting to the point where we can do precision nutrition and really help people dial in their mental and physical performance.
Now, I think this is where people just start to check out. And what I mean by this is because the grocery store is a prime example. You go through the cereal aisle. I used to work with missionaries, and they said when they came home from overseas, their kids would just stare at the cereal aisle, because in the other countries they had two choices.
Right.
Now they have 50 or more choices of cereal.
Right. It's overwhelming.
It is. So you're saying the same thing with pre and probiotics. So if someone's not willing to go into the textbooks and go into the research in PubMed or NIH or any of those and do the research, okay, and then they realize, okay, this is the prebiotic strain I need, and this is the probiotic. Now, where do I find it?
Right.
So I like how Amare is saying, okay, which is what you just said. For this strain, you need this. For this strain, you need this. And so you've already done the work, and that makes it easy for me.
Right. And that's what people should do, right? Not think that they need to become a probiotic, expert or a prebiotic fiber expert and have to decipher all of that from the clinical trials. There are companies out there that have done that for you. That's what Amare does, to say, here is this product. This is the benefit it's going to deliver to you. And if you're interested, we can explain to you why we use this particular strain of bacteria and why we use this particular structure of fiber and why we use this particular plant extract. Like, we can explain to you each and every decision that was made based on the research. But a lot of people just want to take the product and say, I'll be the judge of that. Let me decide. Let me see what it does in my body. Let me see how it makes me feel better. And I'll report back by buying it again or not.
Right. Exactly. All right. But that leads me to the next question. How will they know it's working? How do we know when we've reached that ideal gut-brain axis?
Yeah, you'll know it because you'll feel it, right? And that's the only way that we can do it. When we study mood state, the only outcome is, does that person feel better? In our clinical trials, we'll measure all kinds of other things. We'll measure microbiome balance. We'll measure stress hormones. We'll measure inflammatory markers. There's all kinds of things we can measure sort of in the background that we do as scientists. But that individual will know, is it working, because they will feel better or not. Their brain fog will be there still, or it will be gone. Their mood will be higher or not. Their energy levels will be back or not. That's like that subjective nature of it. That's the only way to judge, is your mental well-being and going in the right direction. And if you don't feel it, it doesn't matter what your blood numbers are doing, right? You have to be able to feel it at that level to make it legitimate for you.
Okay, but then how long does it take? We are in a Tylenol ibuprofen society.
Sure.
Okay, I want it within an hour. And if I'm not feeling it within an hour, then it must not work. And so, but my own story was, it was 3 months taking the fundamentals, the full pack, before I felt the switch. And I was like, okay, I don't know who turned that light on, but do not turn it off. And so
It's funny you describe it like that, Annette, because a lot of people describe it exactly like that. They'll say it was a switch. And it's mood state it depends on which mood state that we're talking about here. Something like tension or stress, you can get that resolved in an hour sometimes, depending on the nutrients that you're using. Things like theanine and Kana, and there's a variety of nutrients that will work really quickly on certain mood states. Other mood states like brain fog, confusion, that might take 5 to 7 days to resolve, just because of the nature of how that biochemistry has to change. So we can get rid of your tension in a day. We can get rid of your brain fog in a week. We can improve your resilience in 2 weeks. We can change your depression or anxiety in 4 weeks, right? So that's the sort of standard trajectory that we like to see in the clinic. But we know, like, pretty reliably, these nutrients do this, these nutrients do that. And if we put them together in the right recipe, what we end up getting is something that we refer to as phased benefits, where one product can help you feel somewhat better quickly, and then more better later, and then more better later, just because the nature of how those mood states change.
I think that's excellent. And it's obvious why Amare is growing so quickly, just because you've targeted an area that people weren't talking about before. Now they're talking about it, and they need help. And it's not like you used to be looked down upon. You would never say, wow, I'm just feeling depressed. They're like, oh, go see a psychiatrist. Like, no, I don't think it's that. I think it's something else. And so they just suffer through, or they just stay quiet. And now it's like, oh, wow, you have a product, you have some extracts that I could take that would help this to go away, or help it to be a partly cloudy day versus a stormy day, or a full sunny day instead of a partly cloudy day, in those different phases. So I really like that. Anything else you want to say about what is Amare?
No, I would just say that we're really the only company that is focusing in this area, right? Just like you just said, Annette, just a second ago, this used to be an area that people didn't want to talk about. Now we find ourselves in a time in history where everybody is talking about mental health, and we're starting to have the conversation about how do we change mental health in a positive way. Well, it is the story of the gut and the gut-brain axis, and we're the only company that's focusing on that way of improving mental well-being. And that's why the company's growing so quickly. Right place, right time, in a sense, but because we're following the science with how we choose our ingredients and put the products together, that means that somebody tries the product and they go, oh, it does work. I do feel better. And they take it again, and they take it again, and they take it again. And now they're a customer for life, maybe, because they feel so much better once their body is in balance.
Right. I like that. And so it's definitely, okay, let me just say this. The other thing I really like about Amare and what they've chosen to do is, like, in just a month or two, they're going to be available in 52 different states, 52 different countries.
Right.
And because this is important, because 45% of our audience is not in America.
Mm-hmm.
So that's huge. And the countries that you're going into, which should be set up in the next month or two, depending on when you're watching this video, is going to be there.
Right.
So that's exciting, because sometimes when I talk about different products, people say, Annette, I don't have your grocery store. How do I find that here in South America, or not South America, but South Africa? That's a big country of ours.
Right.
It's like, okay, give me a picture of your grocery store and I'll tell you what to do. But it's good that Amare is seeing that to be global. And this is not a US problem. This is a global problem. And it's in different variances in different countries, but it is a global problem. And so being able to address that around the world is a huge step. And I'm excited for that growth. So, well, thank you, Dr. Sean. I so appreciate this time with you. And I hope this has helped answer the question, what is Amare? Also, what is the microbiome, the prebiotics, probiotics? We covered it all. You did it well, as usual. And it's always a delight. So thank you for joining us.